welcome back to the Inspired Magazine podcast, where we highlight bold ideas and the people making them happen. Today, we're joined by Chandni Sacheti, the founder of Lives Without Knives, which is a youth-led social enterprise based in Hong Kong and Los Angeles. Their mission is to empower you to embrace plant-forward, sustainable, and conscious choices. From simplifying the vegan journey to advocating for local business partnerships, Lives Without Knives is redefining what it means to live sustainably. Please join me today as we dive into Chandni's vision and how she's making eco-conscious living more accessible for everyone. I'm so excited to have you here today. Welcome, Chandni.
Thank you so much, Doris, for having me in that wonderful introduction. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to share my journey with everyone.
I think you have a really cool one, not only because you are young yourself. I mean, I just mentioned that you are youth-led, but you're also a college student when I got it right, correct?
Yes, I'm a third year UCLA cognitive science student at UCLA.
Wow. Okay. So, and then starting Lives Without Knives at such a young age is such an incredible achievement. Can you share a little bit about your background and what motivated you to build a purpose-driven enterprise focused on sustainability and conscious living?
Yes, definitely. So, my background and what inspired me to really be interested in veganism, plant-based eating, and conscious living was that I grew up as a Jain, which is a religion based on nonviolence and compassion towards all living beings. So, throughout my childhood, my parents had taught me, animals are not should not be on our plate, but rather they are our friends. They are equal to us. And so I grew up very conscious of what I'm eating, of how that affects the people around me, the animals around me, the health of myself, the planet, the environment. And that's how I got interested in the conscious living vegan space. And the way I started Lives Out Knives is it happened by coincidence. I was volunteering at a pitch competition that was basically centered around empowering the youth that they're never too young to change the world. And I was just volunteering there. I was kind of forced by my school to be there, actually. And while I was attending all the workshops and the competition, I realized, wow, this is a really cool mission. And honestly, I don't feel like I'm too young to change the world. And I would love to pitch my own idea and see where that can take me. So, on the whim, I literally just pitched my idea on the spot over there of Lives Out Knives when I was 14 years old. And initially, I said I want to start an events and media based platform that advocates for vegan and plant based and conscious living and shows that people that it's not something that should be stigmatized or hard to do, but something that is actually can be done in a more easier, accessible, and desirable format. And so from there, I pitched my idea, somehow got the funding and mentorship, and began my journey from there in scaling Lives Out Knives from one person media platform that uses social media and blog for advocacy to now a 10 people team based in Los Angeles and Hong Kong, where we host events, festivals, connect vegan brands to untapped markets, and essentially do everything we can to create plant based communities and show people that veganism is fun, thrilling, desirable, and accessible.
This is so cool and impressive. Like at such a young age, at 14, that is like, wow. I don't even know what I did when I was 14, but definitely not. I did not play with ideas like that. So how did your parents react when you came with that idea? It's like, yeah, I want to, I don't know, was it built or thought as kind of like a business or like, a little bit more than just a hobby? And how did they react?
In the beginning, when I was 14, it definitely felt more like a hobby to everyone, even myself. I wasn't really sure what I was doing there. And they reacted positively. They were very proud of me because these were the values that they had taught me of sustainability, of eating plant-based, of eating consciously. So they were very proud of me. But they were also like, okay, if she's a kid, like it will definitely die down. It's like a fun project that all kids like do once upon their life or just stumble upon something. But they were really shocked when I kept going, when times got tough, when COVID-19 hit, when our event got canceled because of COVID, or when even exam seasons hit for me. Most of my friends that were doing projects like this would just stop when exams hit, or if things got hard in life, or they're getting busy with college applications. Everyone found the point where they stopped their projects, but I persevered and kept going because I was so passionate about it. And it'd be to the point where my parents would be like, focus on your exams, like focus on your career. And I'd be like, no, Lives Out Knives is my passion. I want to focus on this right now. And ultimately, they were very proud of me, but very shocked when I still took it to UCLA and I'm still running Lives Out Knives and scaling it when I'm 20 years old. So they are definitely very shocked to see it grow in the past 6 years, but also very happy and proud.
Yeah, that is so cool. So when you founded this back then, I can't imagine, or correct me if I'm wrong, as a 14-year-old, you probably have no or less clue, or like not a lot of idea how to even build those things, especially if you're saying were applying for funding. Like, did you have anyone on your side who kind of like led you a little bit in the right direction, even like as a mentor, or even, okay, I'm investing in you, I'm going to give you the funding, or how did you build that?
Sorry, it was lagging a bit. So the question is, how did I build it? So the funding and all of that, right?
Exactly.
From the
As a, as
beginning.
a, as a 14-year-old, like when you probably have not, an idea how to even get funding, how to talk to investors, for example. Did you have someone who was leading you a little bit as like as a mentor, or maybe was jumping in as an investor, him or herself, to like support you in this?
Yes. So the pitch competition I entered gave us mentorship and funding. So I was very lucky to have that. So it was through an NGO called Kids for Kids that I owe all my success to with Lives.Knives for pushing me, with Lives.Knives for giving me mentorship, for giving me funding, for giving me, most of all, the belief that I can do something at such a young age. And through Kids for Kids, they had a pitch competition. And when I won that, I got access to $3,000 of Hong Kong funding. So that's around, let's say around, I think 400 USD. And he also gave me a mentor that was essentially like a plant-based entrepreneur that was guiding through the process as well. So that was kind of it was kind of like a accelerator program for the youth, essentially, with like mentorship, funding, milestones, workshops to help you throughout the process. And that's kind of where I began. Of course, I was very inexperienced in any of this, and I had no skills whatsoever in entrepreneurship when I began. But I do think that entrepreneurship is something that you pick up as you go along. And what you really need isn't any skill sets, any specific kind of skills and like technical skills or any like subjects you need to learn it beforehand, but it's more about the passion. I really feel like if you're truly passionate about something and dedicated to it, something, you don't need to have anything but that to really make something work.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, before we talk about what Lives Without Knives like offers, or how you build it out over the years, tell us a little bit more specific what specifically you do. Like, are you doing events? Are you doing like, are you doing partnerships with like animal rescue, for example, or what is it exactly that you do?
Yeah, so initially it was a lot more broader and just about advocating for vegan plant-based diets, having events. It was a lot more general, but as I grew older, learned a lot more about entrepreneurship and how to really scale an all-social enterprise and gain clients and customers. Now our mission is essentially to connect vegan brands to untapped markets, so vegan and conscious brands to untapped markets. And the way we do this is we host vegan festivals, conscious markets, sell vegan starter kits at UCLA. So essentially what we're doing is it's a two-part mission. The first part is, of course, to build conscious communities to really show people how conscious and plant-based living is fun, accessible, desirable, and our philosophy has always been that we're forcing you to go vegan or fully conscious overnight. We're telling you to try one vegan meal and see how you feel. And really, we're asking you to just try it out. And it could be anything. So some people, maybe you'll cut out beef for your entire life. Maybe you'll have like meatless Mondays. But if for you, if only one vegan meal a month is all we can do, that is enough as well. We want a world of 1,000 imperfect vegans, not 100 perfect vegans. So what we're really trying to advocate here is, veganism isn't something to be afraid of, isn't something to be stigmatized or for like hippies only, but it is something that is fun and that it can be adopted by anyone on any level that they seem fit for them. So that is our first mission. And the second part of our mission is to uplift vegan and conscious vendors and brands. And that kind of started from when I was starting Lives Out Knives and we were having a lot of partnerships with local businesses. COVID-19 hit and a lot of these businesses shut down in Hong Kong. And I was really sad to see that because when I was talking to these business founders, you can really see the passion they have for what they do. When you're supporting a local business, you're putting a smile on a founder's face. And
Mhm.
when you're supporting a corporate, you're just supporting the CEO's next Ferrari. And so I really felt passionate that these founders deserve to have more spotlight. They deserve to be uplifted. They deserve to be the mainstream choice. Like corporates should not be our go-to, but we should be supporting these small businesses doing such amazing things and really helping the community so much. So our second part of the mission then became to uplift and amplify the voices of these local businesses, local brands that are doing amazing work, which is why in our festivals, our markets, our vegan starter kits, we focus primarily on local brands that are based in Los Angeles now, to really uplift their work, bring them to different audiences, and show them the UCLA audience, because most of these vendors don't have access to college students. And of course, college students are where it begins now. That's where the minds are changing. That's the people of the future that are looking for conscious minds, conscious diets, conscious lives. So that's what our mission is essentially now, to connect these vegan brands and conscious brands to untapped markets, which are colleges to begin with.
Yeah, yeah. I think you have also a really good chance to get your audience there because these are the people who are, future founders, right? I mean, there's
Mhm.
like so many college kids, or they kind of like, I want to build something, but either like my parents forced me to get a degree first, or they want to do them
Exactly.
first, but they will, after I'm done with college, I want to go out and do something meaningful. And I mean, we hear it all the time. Like, yes, you have your degree, but are you actually using it? So, kind of like give them also the alternative. Look, there is a very important industry or market that you should not be looked over. It's like not only can you build a career or like a business out of that, but you can make really right choices and really push something that's just right. Correct.
Mhm.
So,
Exactly.
so this field obviously I can imagine comes a lot with education, right? It's one thing that you push brands to, spread their mission and like their products and services, whatever they offer. But I still think even though veganism is, obviously well known, but I have the feeling that sometimes people don't really grasp what's included with that, right? So you just mentioned like you rather have like 1,000 imperfect vegans than 100 perfect vegans. And sometimes it feels like it's kind of a black and white area, right? So you're vegan or you're not vegan, but there is kind of like no gray zone.
Yes.
How much are you doing in terms of education, maybe just by yourself with your team or in a combination with the brands you work with?
Yeah, so ultimately, our process is very heavily dependent on education, of course, because people will only try these brands. And the way we want people to try these brands is because they're educated enough to know the importance of trying these brands or the importance of having vegan lifestyles, conscious lifestyles. So the way we do this is in for example, our vegan and conscious festivals, we have a lot of speakers coming in to talk about the importance of this. So it's not just a fun festival with a lot of vendors and musicians and speakers. Like, that's great, the whole like entertainment side of it. But more than that, we also have a lot of education. So we have the speakers come in that are a lot more focused on talking about the power of plant-based diets for your mind, for your health, for the animals. Additional to that, we also have a lot of nonprofits coming in that are working in the education space. So what we do is we are not the ones directly educating the people about plant-based diets or about conscious living, but what we like to do is we want to be the connector and really bringing people to the right people to understand conscious and vegan living. Because there already are a lot of organizations, a lot of brands that are talking about the education. So we don't want to infringe on their work. They already are doing incredible work with going into schools or having amazing brochures or having amazing talks and demonstrations. So what we do is we bring these amazing people into our audience so you can share your education. And then the second part is we show them that, now that you're educated on why it's important to try veganism or conscious living, here are the brands, here is the fun aspect of here are the foods you can try to really act upon that.
Yeah, yeah, here's the solution. Right? Everyone's asking for the solution all the
Exactly.
time, right?
Yeah.
So it's one thing to just talk about and say, well, this is awesome. And then it's like, I actually have a solution for you. There is like a bunch of brands, people who understand this, in a very big manner, and you can definitely learn from them. So, how do you do this when you say like you're based in Hong Kong and LA? That seems very stressful to me to run a to run a business or initiative like that at 20 years old as a college student, like on so many, like on two continents, right? So how do you do that? How do you manage that?
Yeah. So I would say now we are primarily based in LA just because it is a lot of work, as you said, with being a college student, with my own career, and just with managing livestock knives here. So I would say we were based in Hong Kong a lot more when I was living in Hong Kong, or when I do go back for the summers. I do a lot of work with like local businesses and like reviewing the vegan restaurants out there, promoting them on Instagram, having brand partnerships, attending the events that are as such and that. But I'd say primarily we operate on creating events in Los Angeles at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, one thing after the other, right? Don't spread yourself too thin. So,
Exactly.
what would you say, like in term now that you have like both sides of the of the planet, would you say it's more difficult in the US or or in Hong Kong to educate people? Obviously, they eat differently, they eat different meat, right? So I think that's one of the things when I'm traveling to Asia, I'm always afraid of the food, just because there's
Mhm.
so many things that I would even like, okay, I have a pet at home. I could never even imagine, but that's kind of like, I'm not saying everyone is like that, but it's just like that stigma that you have that they eat things that we would never touch, right? So how do you feel like is the understanding or the educational part like more challenging, or is it, pretty easy? It's because it's more common.
I would say it's definitely such a different demographic in advocating vegan and conscious living in like the US and Hong Kong or Asia. It has been completely two ends of a spectrum. For example, Hong Kong eats three times the global average. So three times the global average of meat. And so that's obviously a crazy challenge because inherently Asia has a lot more meat in its culture. And just because I guess Chinese culture is a lot more focused around meat and eating together as well. So it's more of a social barrier to be vegan in Hong Kong as well, because in the US, like usually go to a restaurant and you get your own food and it doesn't matter. No one's affected by what you order for yourself. But in Asia, if you ever ask to get your own food, it's like, oh, like what's going on? Is something wrong here? It's seen as a little bit insulting, if anything. And so it's a very big social barrier to be stepping away from all your friends and family and be ordering your own food, your own vegan food. And on top of that, the options in Asia are not that great for vegan food in comparison to the US. Especially in LA, the options I found here are incredible. Like there's always a vegan option any restaurant I go to. Not just that, it won't just be like a salad or fries. It'll be a really good Impossible Meat burger, or it'll be like vegan mac and cheese, and it's always really well done here. There's always oat milk, soy milk, everything here. But in Hong Kong, you have to really pick the restaurants you go to based on if you're vegan or not, or like there have been many times I've been to a restaurant and there's literally no option apart from like some bok choy, steamed bok choy on the side of something.
Mhm.
And so I would say that's definitely very, very different in terms of like one, the social aspect, and two, just the availability of options, which is why I feel like it's been a lot easier for me to start Lives Out Knives and build it in LA because one, the audience is a lot more receptive to it. People are more open-minded towards it. There's a lot more options for it. Socially, we're more conditioned towards that. LA is inherently more liberal as well. So it's a lot more open to like a vegan lifestyle, whereas I'd say Hong Kong is definitely a lot more behind on that scale.
Yeah, yeah. And it's probably easier for you to like, get one baby running so it can maybe like walk on its own, right? And you said you have a team of like 10 people. So you could go back to China at some point. It's like, okay, I know LA is in good hands. They can do it. I know how to do it. And the audience is there and I don't have to be worried. And then go and tap a new market. And it's like, okay, let's get the challenge on.
Exactly, yeah, because I would say LA, it's doing really well. And even if Lives Up Knives didn't exist, the vegan market is awesome here.
Yeah.
But I think Hong Kong needs it. Hong Kong needs Lives Out Knives. And I really want to learn here. I want to build up my connections. I want to learn how to really scale veganism on a higher level, how to show people it's fun, accessible, and take those learnings to Hong Kong where I can truly start a revolution in plant-based living.
Amazing. I love that. So tell us a little bit about your event, your upcoming event in April at UCLA. What do you have planned? What's your goal with that?
Yeah, so what we have planned, super exciting, is a conscious festival. So we're calling it the Lives Out Knives Conscious Fest. And essentially, our mission with that festival is to ignite conscious minds, diets, and lives. So we really want to spark a revolution at UCLA, at colleges in LA, of this conscious minds, diet, and life philosophy where, holistic wellness, health and wellness aren't just foreign concepts for like health geeks or, like 60-year-olds who are going through chronic disease, but it's something that should be a part of everyone's lives. And plant-based living is at the center of that, of course. So that's going to be the center of what we do at Conscious Fest. So on a tangible terms, what exactly are we having there? It will be a one-day vibrant festival. We're having tons of plant-based vendors. We're having beauty vendors, we're having musicians, we're having entertainment, we're having 15 speakers come in, we're having giveaways, basically a very fun atmosphere that again is really encapsulating the philosophy of Lives Without Knives. That is, veganism is fun, thrilling, desirable, accessible, something that is open to everyone, free entry festival. And of course, we're having Clean Beauty Magazine as our official media partner. They'll be curating a specific clean beauty segment in collaboration with Chella as well. So, really, what we're trying to do is give out all these interactive experiences and show people that conscious living, plant based living isn't something that is for high level health practitioners, but it's really something that can be adopted by everyone.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this event. I mean, I will be there too, and I've not only now hearing the story and connecting it to the event, like meeting you obviously, but just to see what a 20-year-old can pull up. Like other 20, they're overwhelmed if they have to organize a birthday party for their sibling or something, right? And then you just pull up a thing like that. I think that's really impressive. So last question. So when you start this obviously now as a passion project and you're still in college. What is your plan when you're done with college? Like, do you want to like 100% fully dig into Lives Without Knives, or will that, more like I don't know. Do you have something else planned?
Yeah, so I would say in an ideal world, I would love to go full on into Lives Without Knives, launch it as a startup and scale it, start chapters across colleges across the US, and really be the one-stop platform for plant-based and conscious brands to access untapped markets. That is my dream, and that I will achieve, definitely alongside my other goals. But I also do have a separate career plan. I am striving to have a multi-hyphenated entrepreneurial career. I'm really passionate about entrepreneurship. And essentially, my kind of vision for my career is to be focused around unlocking human potential. That is what I'm really passionate about. So, Lives Without Knives falls under that for sure. But other than that, I'm really into the intersection of holistic wellness and tech, working in brain optimization technologies, neurotechnologies, that sort of thing. So, my plan for post undergraduation is to really dive into the neurotechnology field and work in holistic wellness and definitely carry on Lives Without Knives alongside. Then in the future, when the time is right, I would want to go fully onto Lives Without Knives and scale it into the best I possibly can.
That is, honestly, I'm not surprised. There is something about you Asian girls. I do one thing like at one time you always have like multiple things, but I think it's very impressive. So in saying that, I'm really excited for this event. I'm really excited to see what you build, and obviously I will follow Lives Without Knives. We'll see where this takes you. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today and being so open and share your story.
Thank you so much for having me. I had such a great conversation with you, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you. So we will talk soon then.
Yes, thank you.